Hello everyone, this is Muted and Nuts, and today we'll be continuing our beginner-friendly Road to SCP video series. Today we'll be looking at another HackTheBox machine, that is Jarvis. Jarvis is based on Linux and the difficulty is medium, so let's just get started. So first thing what I always do is I run an auto-recon scan. If you guys don't know what auto-recon is, it will do few nmap scans at first on the target machine, and based on the open ports and services, it's going to do additional scans on them. So 95% of the time it works great, but sometimes you have to manually enumerate things further. And another important note is you should always know how to manually enumerate things. Even if you don't know all the commands, well, that's fine. You can have a like a Excel or something with all the commands present over there. So you should know how to run it and actually manually do things. Okay, so I'll be running the scan and I'll be running it as root. So that's why I'll be giving sudo over here. I'll be running the box as Escalation, and I'll be giving Python 3 in order to run this file. This tool, by the way, is available on GitHub. You guys can get it from there. And also I'll be giving the target IP address, that is 10.10.10.143 in the case of Jarvis. I'll be giving the O switch over here for the output directory. So I'll be saving the scan result over here in this directory. So I did already execute the scan, so I'm not going to execute it again because it takes quite some time. So first thing what I always do is I look at the full TCP nmap scan, and if you see over here we have like 3 ports open, that is 22 running SSH and 80 running HTTP and 64999 running HTTP as well. If you see over here, both the versions are like not really latest, but yeah, I think so they are. Yeah, so you can check for exploits over here. Obviously, first thing you see a service, you see some version over here. First thing to do is take out the service and check it out and search exploit. So it's like it should be hard and fast to low. You see some service, take it out and search. But I know that 7.4 it's not like it's like latest version. I don't think there are exploits. You can try for these as well on search exploit. Next thing is we obviously have SSH over here, which is 22. Best thing what we can do is brute force that, right? But brute force is never really an option. Maybe at times, but I don't think so over here. So let's just leave it aside. No hard and fast rule, but obviously you need creds, like valid creds, to enter into the box with SSH. Then we have port 80 over here, which says PHP session ID as well. So in short, we have a hint that it is probably running PHP over here. Okay, so we have something like Stark Hotel or something, and also we have few things over here. Okay, we do not get anything additional, and we get obviously the OS information, that is Linux over here. That's it, we do not have anything else. So what we can do is we can leave this aside and we can check out the other scans over here as well. We have 64992, so we can check out the nmap scans for these and probably check for any vulnerabilities or something. So if you just check for and any something, so it comes like this may be vulnerable to this, like it does the nmap scan, but there's nothing present over here. Obviously vulnerable, there is nothing. Okay, there is, but it says might not be, so that's fine. So we can close this and we can obviously check for multiple things over here, but I'm just trying to walk through it really fast. Okay, so obviously next thing what we can do before going to the GoBuster scan, we can just check the web application. So let's just go and check 10.143, and we come across some Stark Hotel web application. Another thing, if you come across the web application, if you see on top, we have like a potential domain name over here. Okay, so we can probably add this to our etc host file, that is your local DNS. So that's how it works. So you can add this particular thing with this IP address over here. Maybe if you load this page instead of this IP, because and that's how the server would react, and it would send you another web application or something, redirect you to that. So that's how it would work, but I don't think that's the case over here. It does not work, so you guys can probably try it. And obviously remember, whenever you'll see something like this, some domain name, try to add it in your host file if you get some additional files or application. And also we'll scroll across as you get something like fish, and all these kind of things are present over here. But and also you get some room suites or something like that, and luxury hotels. So obviously this looks like, another important thing is this is not a vendor based application. Most likely it is like like probably some custom made application over here. So obviously we can just try clicking around and see if you get something. So obviously we can open the sign in page, utilities, you can open this as well, and we can open home, rooms, dining bar, view detail, no more. Just try to click on each things, and it says book now here, so let's do that. view all rooms, dining bar, that's it. I don't think there are anything else. Same links, I guess. So if you see over here, obviously most of the pages are like just dummy pages. So if you click sign in, nothing happens. This utility is also nothing happened, that's why it did not open anything. Same thing over here for all these Facebook, Twitter and all these kind of things. So let's just close the pages which are different. So over here it says choose your best rooms and suites. So we have few things over here, superior family room and all these things. So we'll just try to check out, manually just try to enumerate things and do like book now probably. And we come across over here to this particular room. So this is family room over here, and we see over here, first thing what came into my mind was like probably LFI. Okay, so obviously we have this thing, we have one over here, so probably we can just try and check for etc password or something, but it does not work and there's no LFI present over here, so it says 1 over here for this. And let's go back and we go to this other room and we see it says 2 over here. So in short, if we just remove that and we add 1, so we're going to come back to the previous room, again we do 2, we come back over here. So in short, by changing this, we particularly change the page which is being loaded over here, right? So most likely it can be that there is SQL injection present over here if it is exploitable. So let's just look into that in a bit. Obviously we come across these things over here which says dining bar PHP. I think we can check out for these take an order over here as well. But if you click, nothing happens. So there's no other page. Obviously that clickable option is there. I'm actually clicking, but there's nothing behind it. So same thing over here. I think we can just ignore these things over here. Room again, it says 5. So we have room suites over here. Same thing, same page. Okay, I don't think we have anything additional. So let's just come and look into this thing. Okay. So another thing is that if we probably enter something like some big number, like 500 or something, does something happen? So in short, we see that we do not get any output, which seems like, and it actually helps us think that obviously if there's some kind of SQL injection over here, probably we can do that. So let's just see, this is still not definitive, but let's just see what we can do. Okay, so obviously we'll just leave it as 1. And obviously when I'm doing this thing like searching for SQL injection, what I would do next is I would run GoBuster scans. Obviously by default the auto recon will do GoBuster scans, which is like, the word list is really small and I don't think it covers up a lot of things, and some things may be left out. But over here we can go and check out for all these things as well if you do not find anything over here. But I did find something, right? So I'll just spend my time over here rather than looking at GoBuster, diverting my mind. Okay, so obviously we have like PHP admin over here, which may be useful later. So let's just look into that. And I did manually run GoBuster small over here to see if we get something. I think it's almost the same. We get PHP my admin, so let's just see on that. As well as we check for this 6499 as well. Let's not forget that before we enter it. Let's just check for 6499 as well and see if we get something over there. 64999. And it just says, hey, you have been banned, don't be bad, for 90 seconds. That's what it says. For some reason there was nothing. We check out the GoBuster scan as well from and we just get this index HTML server status. It says code 403, so not authorized. Okay, that's it. And also we'll check, I did run the small txt as well, 8000 word list over here, and it says index HTML. That's it. So nothing else over here. Obviously I hope you guys know how to run GoBuster scan, since this auto recon tool itself caught that my PHP my admin, which may be useful later. So we'll just look into that in some time. I'm not going to run it again, like I'm not going to show you all probably, and I think I've done it in my previous videos, almost all the boxes. So okay, so what we'll do is we have this thing over here. We can just make our life easy and just route this traffic through Burp Suite. Okay, so let's just go to preferences and go to network settings. Do the manual proxy configuration. This is your localhost IP address. Tick this thing for all protocols 8080. Leave it as it is. Press OK. Now start Burp Suite. Okay. So probably other thing what we can do is we can just check for 7 over here. If we see, okay, my bad. We'll just wait till Burp Suite loads. So I'll just turn this interceptor off. I don't really like turning it on for some reason, but until I actually have to modify and send some request and see the response, usually I turn it off, and then we'll just have the HTTP over here, and we can just change this thing, reload this page probably. So if I do that, obviously since we have routed our traffic through Burp, so our Burp is somewhere over here, that is Burp Suite, and hope many of you guys are aware about this. So Burp Suite from web browser to Burp Suite, the traffic would come, then Burp Suite will forward the traffic over here, and vice versa. So it works like, it will come through Burp Suite. Usually it will go like this, but since we are routing that proxy and everything, and it will go through Burp Suite, right? Okay. So they just leave it neat. Maybe we'll need it we'll require it later. My bad. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just look at that loaded page, and this is the get request which we did get over here, and if you see over here we have like COD 7. Okay, so obviously we'll just try and take that to the repeater. So if we have this repeater over here, if we hit 7, so we do get a page probably. I don't think we had a page, right? Did we? Okay, I think we had a blank page. So I'll just make it simple, keep it 1 as we entered earlier, right? And we can send it. So if we send it, we see that the size, just notice this thing, this is very crucial over here, especially in like any your LFI or your SQL injections and everything, the response size. So if I send it multiple times, the response is going to be 6522 bytes itself, like around. So what we'll do is we'll also note the time milliseconds. So 6522 was the bytes, and this is the millisecond request we got. And if I changed it to 7, we probably got like a lower lower response size, right? So we'll just try to note this out in cherry tree, and we can just write with data response. We probably got like 6522 bytes and around 140 milliseconds. We can probably write with no data. We'll just check that out. I think it was 62 something. So let's just do that. Let's enter 7 over here, and let's just hit send. And over here, if we check out that, we see that we get 139 milliseconds and 6234 bytes. So let's just add that as well. 6232 bytes and around 139 milliseconds. So that is like almost close. I don't think there's a big difference between these things. So now comes to this SQL injection. So if you have to confirm that SQL injection is indeed present, okay, if it is working, so we can check out for two things over here. We can check out for this pentest monkey page as well as payload all the things. So we'll require both these things over here in order to work this SQL exploit, if it works. Okay, so first thing is let's check, and we can go to okay, another thing is let's just hold for now, and since we have this page, let's just quickly go to that PHP my admin page, and over here username we can probably just try to add admin. You can add the default credentials, you can check. See, this is a vendor specific web application, so we can go and check for this particular application over here, like as in you can go on Google and you can check for it, but that default script does not work. And over here we see that we have my SQLi real connect. In short, it says that we have MySQL present over here because it says cannot log into MySQL server. So this is the hint we got that it's a MySQL server. So obviously we can check out for cheat sheets over here which says for MySQL, rather than wasting time on all of these and trying multiple things. Okay, so we can go to MySQL injection and we can check for this MySQL. And first thing what I want to do is, since that one digit is present, we can probably try adding other like or one that way. I don't think it actually works correctly, because you would not definitely know that is SQL injection present or no. So one thing what I think I do it in the other boxes as well, where we have RC or something, we check for it using sleep command, right? So we can do that over here. We have this sleep command. Obviously ignore this, this says that version higher than this. So we can probably try to add this sleep command. Do not select, I don't think we require the select option over here, or we can add that, select sleep, and see if it works. So what we'll do is we have 7 over here and we have to add and. So let's just add that. and we can add select sleep 5. Not sure if that's going to work with the select, but let's just try. So let's just do Control U to URL encoded, and send it. So we obviously do not get anything over here. What we'll try to do is we'll just try to remove this select and try to send it. We do not get anything over here as well. So let's just try change this to, I don't think that should matter, but yeah. So what we can do is, since 7 was invalid value, right? So we'll just try with 1. So if you do 1, we see that we do not get a response immediately. We get a response after 5 milliseconds. Obviously the size is changed now, because for 1 it was giving us data and it gave us the size of 65522 bytes. Okay, so this is what we got, and let's just try. Obviously this did not matter. I think we can keep this as it is. Let's just try select as well. Select plus, oh, it does not work with select. Obviously you have to just have, because select is already present prior to this 1 in the back end. So I know it may be a bit confusing, but this is how we have to run 1 and sleep, because it will be like select all from probably catalog, select all from rooms where ID is equal to 1 and sleep for 5 seconds. So that's how it is. Select is already present probably, so that's why we don't have to add. In short, we confirm that SQL injection is present. So we can probably just make a note if you all want, SQL injection confirmed. Okay, now we have SQL injection confirmed, right? We are sleeping for 5 seconds. We can check it again using 10 seconds probably, and that's gonna give us sleep for like 10 seconds over here. So obviously in short, we're telling the server, hey, you know what, take this, process this command, take 10 seconds, go to sleep, and respond back to us in 10 seconds. So obviously we get the response in 10,141 milliseconds. Earlier we got it in 141 millisecond itself, right? So this time we got it in 10 seconds. But this thing is of concern over here, the bytes 6234. Now we require this byte, to actually be, we should actually be getting this response 65222, something like that. In short, what is happening is, if you just check out this page over here, right? So if we see, there are multiple things. First thing is the image itself. Then I think this 270, and then we have this super family room as well as this stars, I guess. Let's just see how many values change, or there's dependency. So obviously if we just hit 2, we see that this thing changed, the rating changed, the image changed, as well as the comment changed, as well as this rupee changed over. So in short, if we enter 2 in the backend, it's gonna probably let's just assume this. Okay, so if we enter something like ID contains multiple values. Okay, so ID probably contains, first is like this image, room image, I can probably mention as room image. Okay, then it contains something like this name of the room. Okay, before that, I think it mentions the star as well. I'm just trying to break it down for you, like how it's going to work. If we just change one value, it's giving us something different, right? All the values are changing, like 3 stars over here. So probably mention something like stars, then mention like room name, and also then later on it will be like this price over here. Okay, so that is price. That's it. For now, we'll just consider these things. Four things are changing. Okay, so if we enter 1 over here, watch very carefully. The picture will change, the stars will change, the name will change, as well as the price and other things as well. Obviously, the description as well over here. So if you see over here, earlier it was like 140, and this thing was different. This thing also, star was like 3, and the picture was different as well. In short, from now it looks like there are 5 values which are being returned. If there are multiple values being returned, we need to use union-based SQL injection over here. So you can check out for union-based SQL injection more in depth in Portswigger Academy. I think it's free. You can try it out over there. Check for union injections. I think it's mentioned over here as well. The union, I'm not sure. I think it may be mentioned over here. Just do union. Yeah. So okay, so that's how we have to do union-based SQL injection. How do we detect the number of columns and everything? We can do order by, group by, or we can just do union select. So this is what we'll be doing now, and just consider this one is our one which is present over here. So in this case, if we just give a quote, right, and if we send, so it does not work for some reason. So obviously we have to leave it as it is and do that. So whenever you're testing SQL injection, try it with quotes first, try it with double quotes first, and try it with no quotes as well, and see if we get some output. But obviously this thing worked without quotes over here. So what we'll do is we'll just do union select, and we have to enter the number of columns over here. Sorry, number of statements which are coming, like different values which are coming. So that's what we have to do, and we have to check how it's going to work. So let's just remove this for now. We'll just keep one. Obviously we'll just send it. It will get 655 to 65222. Okay. So what we can do is we just do union, and we'll probably do select, and we can add multiple nulls, or we can add 1 2 3 as well to properly understand, but just add null and see. Probably then later on we can add 1 2 3 4. So we'll add null over here, and we'll just add this comment sign, because we saw that this comment sign did work, and for MySQL you can use this. So let's just select this entire thing, press Ctrl U on your keyboard so that it URL encodes. If you do not send it, you're going to get an error, because the response over here would be different for GET request. So don't do that. Press Ctrl U and send it. So obviously we got the same output over here. Our goal is that we reach the same output which we saw, that was 65222. So we have to reach that output over here. So what we'll try to do is we'll just add null, again send it, same thing over here. So let's just copy this thing and paste it again over here. So we added like I think 5 nulls now. Let's send it, same thing, does not work, add more, does not work, add more, does work. Because if you see now, if we added like around 7 nulls over here, that is null, 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 and we got a result of 65222. So if we go down and we check, obviously this results, whatever we got was actually for the, what do you say, the one for that first room, right, where it said around like $270, the first room itself. We got the value of that. So now we added like this 7 nulls. So that means there are like 7 entries being displayed over here. So in ID there are like 4 values we had written, right? So probably we can add more, like description and value 6 as well as 7. So in short, how union SQL injection works is, if you have this select all from ID, this, so and so, it can be like union select and these things over here, probably, then we will probably get the output. Okay, so that's how it works. It actually has to match the count of whatever thing was present over here on top and down. Obviously these things does not matter, you can enter anything, but the value count should be like 1 to 7. So like 7 fields should be present over here. That's how your union attack works. That's why I said if you all want to go in depth, you all can check out the Burp Suite Academy, and you can find it out how it actually works. But this is how the union actually does work. So what we'll try to do is, we do have this thing at 7 values. What we can do is we can just try to change this to 100, and we can check out other things over here. We can just send it, and we'll see we get 6 2 3 4, because we do not have anything over here, right? Now one thing is confirmed, that SQL is done. Union also we got the value as 7. We can probably enter something like 7 entries over here. And another thing is, let's just scroll down. And okay, another thing, there are 2 ways to do this box using the SQL injection. So we will do the first wave, like the first method first, I'm sorry, but the easy method first, and then we'll probably look into the more tricky part later. But we'll do the first method, and that is the easy one. So let's just go with it. And I'm just trying to find for blind SQL. Okay, we have blind over here, we have time based, conditional. So obviously there are multiple queries and it may get confusing, but let's just go over here and see. We have some union select, some interesting parameters over here, which says it dumps output to out file, or you can probably read a file using union all select. I don't think we require union all over here, but yeah, for some reason we can read the file and as well as out the file somewhere. Okay, so what we'll try to do is we'll just try and use this method and see if it actually works. Okay, so how this thing is going to work is you have to enter some value between these things over here, and you have to give into out file. So let's just copy this thing over here. We'll not use these, we'll just use the hash because we know that worked. So we can copy this thing, or probably I think we just copy this entire thing over here. Okay, so let's just take that, and probably we can take this because this is much more good for our example. We do know PHP is running, and obviously this is a Windows example, but we can try and write it and see how it works. So we can just do this as well as we can use the load file command, I guess. So let's just try using this as well. So let's just use this first, load file. Let's just do etc password and see if we can write it. So for that we'll have to sacrifice one null command. We can use the first one itself and see if it works. So we'll just do that. Load file etc password. I think I'll have to give bracket for this. Let's just see if it works. And it does work. Why? Because we got like a 7 KB output. So if we just go below and we see we have a etc password file over here. So obviously we have the root user over here, and we have multiple users. So obviously we do get inside this, and I think we can add a new line as well over here. It may be a bit more, but I'm just trying to make the things better looking. I think it will work. Oh, I think it did not work itself. So if I added a new line, it did not work, I guess. So let's just leave it as it is. Let's just not mess with it and do load file. Okay, so we do get our etc password file. That means obviously we have like an LFI, right? We can check out for any users which are present. We have pepper user. We can check out for the SSH keys over here, but that does not work because we'll get to know later. Okay, so we have something like pepper user, we have MySQL SSHD as well as www data, and we see over here obviously the location is home location is var www. What we'll try to do is, since we now loaded this file, we can try and check out multiple things over here. I think we can call for this particular room PHP file as well and see if this path is correct. Okay, so this path as in var in the Linux system, obviously it would be like var www html. So this is like most likely the path almost in Linux system, but it can be different. No hard and fast rule that this is a thing, but yeah, this is what it looks like. So let's just try adding that and check out that room PHP file. So what we'll try to do is var www html room.php. I hope this script does not run and it will try to be in a loop for some reason. I'm not sure. I hope it doesn't, because it will probably try to execute this file. I'm not sure. Let's just see. Okay, I don't think that happened. Okay, and we do get multiple things over here: index, PHP, location, and we see that we have this SQL command present over here. Okay, so get COD, that's how it's gonna fetch multiple commands. So probably like 7 commands over here, 7 over here. Yeah, so that's how this is our SQL injection command. Select all from room where COD is the get COD request. So whatever we get the value over there, right? So that is coming over here itself. So we have to enter it over here. So after these codes over here, so that's why if you enter 1 over there, so it's not going to matter for the codes or something. That's why the codes do not matter over there. Okay, so in short, we enter this and then we do and sleep. Select all from room where this and sleep that way. So in short, we did that, and for now we can ignore, and we are confirmed that this location was actually the default location, like for the web directory. So what we can do is we can probably now use this other command over here which says union all select. I don't think we require the all, or we can add that if it does not work. We'll have an PHP request done and into out file. So we need to give this command into out file and then the location of that particular output directory. Obviously there's another thing that you can probably add it to the temp folder, but if you add that file to the temp folder which is already present, how are you going to call it, right? Because you are stuck in this particular directory itself. You can go to a child directory inside this directory, but you cannot go behind and all these things until unless like because you have to execute the file, right? So that's not going to work. So what we'll try to do is we'll just try to keep it neat, and just to make you all understand, I'll just URL decode it again. I'll just remove this select all load file, and probably I can enter something like the PHP script. Okay, so this is the PHP script which I'll enter. So let's just do that. So we can enter, I hope you guys have seen multiple times we have entered this PHP script. So like echo system, I know it says eval over echo, sorry, shell exec, but we can use system, shell exec, eval, multiple commands for PHP. If this does not work, I'll probably check for other things. So before that, what we can do is we'll just try to echo something like simple and see if it actually works. We'll echo into a text file, so we'll just put mutated nuts and see if it is writing this option is available or no, and we'll do into out file. We'll just leave the count null as 7 itself. We are not modifying anything over there. After that, after this last null, we'll just do into out file, and probably we can enter the part that is vr www html, which we just confirmed, right? This part. So we'll just do something like mutated nuts txt. So obviously you can mention any name over here. I'll just mention this and see if this actually works. Okay, so we have this thing done. Okay, let's just take this and try to control U for URL encode and send it. So we do get the same like 6234, which we don't want, but in short we have written this to the file, right? This entire command to the file. So let's just see if it is available, that file. So let's just go back over here and let's just try for nuts.txt, and if we see over here, if we do view page source, obviously we get like these null commands. In short, whatever we wrote, we have written on the file. So now it's very simple, right? We just have to write a PHP command over here. So probably I'll just URL decode it again so that you guys can understand it well. The command, if you all want, I'll just keep okay. So union select mutated nuts. So what we'll do is, instead of mutated nuts, we'll just enter the PHP command over here. So we can enter PHP. We already know PHP is running because why? We had that PHP room PHP page, right? So we can check for echo system, and then we can do request, then we can just add command over here. So this is the PHP command which you have to give for echo system, and we give a request over here so that we have a request parameter. So request parameter is this like COD, like question mark COD, right, and equal to. So we can give probably something like mutated nuts itself, or you can give any name you all want. You can give your name or anything, CMD, anything. It's no hard and fast because this is like a variable which you'll give. So close that, and then later on close this as well. Yeah, so this is the entire command. Don't forget to have these semicolon, question mark, and this thing over here. And what we'll try to do is, instead of mutated nuts txt, we can add something like reverse PHP. We can add that. And the reason why we saw this null thing, right, because of these things also gets added, because we are not explicitly mentioning that, hey, you know what, take only the first parameter and put it in the out file. The other values would come as well that way. So let's just do that and see if we get something. Let's just send it. But before that, do not forget URL encode. Control U, send it. We do send it, we get the same response, and we'll check for reverse.php over here. Obviously we get this thing, and we do not get that PHP query what we entered, right? So that is like good news over here. We are like, okay, it probably rendered as PHP. So in order to execute that command, we have to give the question mark. We have to give the parameter name what we entered over here. I hope you guys know about this. Enter this thing, and then probably enter who am I for magic, and we obviously get www data. Okay, another thing is, I think we can even enter, just leave this 100 as 1 itself and try to enter this command, but let's just save it in some test PHP file and see if it works. I think it does work. Let's just do that and call for test PHP. Okay, it does work, so it does not matter, you can leave it 100 or 1 or something like that. Okay, So it does work, like you can give one itself and do this entire thing. So this is the first way how to do the box. In short, we got RC, right? Obviously we got RC, it's very simple now. Let's just take this thing, whatever we entered over here. Where did it go? Okay, my bad. That reverse PHP command, right? Send it to repeater. We can probably check for, since we have our RC over here, we can check for host name. Obviously it's gonna give like Jarvis. Then what we can do is we can just check for which Python is present or which NC. So if you do which, that means if it is present, it's gonna actually send you the output. So URL encoded, send it. It says user bin Python is present, because sometimes Python is not present or Python 3 is present, okay, or Python is not present at all. So you have to confirm before you struggle and see that, hey, you know what, which tools are present. You can do that, or if there is a blind RC done, sometimes you cannot see, you can use the sleep command as well. I think I showed it in the sense box, like HackTheBox sense. You can do that as well. Okay, so we'll just go to Pentest monkey again, and now we do not require these commands over here. For now, we require the reverse shells. Go over here. We have cheat sheet. Take this. We can do this. Python. Copy this thing, and we can probably paste it over here. Important thing is you can add bin sh as default. You can leave that as well. But I'll just try to add bash over here. Just get a proper shell. I think I know bash is present. I'll add 1010. 14, 28, that is my attack machine's IP address, my Kali machine's IP address in the HackTheBox VPN tunnel. Okay, obviously you'll be having like two IP address. One is like your proper network IP address, and then you'll be having the tunnel IP address as well. So make sure you check out the ton0 IP address. Okay, so we have 4444 as the port. I'll just start my netcat listener for now. Let's just go back to, okay, I think we'll just go to exploit, and we'll start our netcat listener, nc nvlp 4444. We have a netcat listener over here, and we'll just try, that's it. We have to just, this is like optional, okay, but these things are mandatory, like the IP address and the port number. So let's just take this entire command over here, and you control U, so URL encode. This is the reverse PHP mutated nuts file which we had created using SQL injection. If we do send, we see over here we got a shell. So if we do who am I, obviously we are www data. We can go back and we can go to home. We can upgrade our shell as well, but I think I'll just leave it as it is. cd pepper. Go back, and we see that we unfortunately cannot read the user txt flag because it says permission denied. So if you do cat user txt, obviously it's not going to work. So in short, we have to upgrade to this user probably. So let's just check for uname A, and we get information, OS information, that 64-bit information. I think the OS is like really latest over here, 19.2. And what we can do is another thing, check for sudo l, and we see that we get something interesting, that hey, we can actually run few command like this command over here, or this file particularly, as pepper over here, sorry, as pepper. So it says all and no password as well. So that means we do not have to give any password. We can run this particular simpler file. First thing is you can just take this, run it, okay, but first you have to probably give sudo l, sudo u, probably sudo u pepper, and give this. Does run, but okay, another thing, if you all don't know why I use sudo u pepper, so since we give, whenever we give root, right, we just do sudo who am I or something like that, some command. So that is, in short, it means root. So if you give sudo and you give the u switch, that means a user, different user, and we'll give the user pepper. So that means we can use that. So if we see over here, it says simpler.py, some file which lists the attacker's IP and ping an attacker IP. Okay. So for some reason, there's some script over here, looks like a custom script, or I don't think it is custom, simple.py. Let's just check out this file. Let's see if we have write access. If we have write access, obviously we can just try to modify the file and get our shell as pepper and get our user txt flag. So let's just check out this particular file. So let's lsla, check out the file, and it looks like we just have like read access. Obviously we have sudo pepper, and this file if we run it, we only have like executable permissions using pepper. That's it. We do not have any write permission. We do not get these entire permissions over here. I hope file permissions are clear to you all, that if we are just having executable permission to actually, what do you say, run this file as pepper, we do not have anything else like modify or something like that. Otherwise it will be over here. So in short, we can just run this command. That's it. So what we'll try to do is, we'll just take this simpler.py file. We can probably cat it, because since we have read permissions, we can read it. So let's just cat this file. And it's a huge file, I guess. So yeah, I think it's a huge file. Import OS, all these things. You can take this manually. You can just try to copy it. Or what you can do is you can do base64 or transfer the file. Let's just do that, copy it over here. And let's just go over here. We can save it in the loot directory. We have not used it much, but yeah, I usually use the expert directory as well, but I want everything in one place. So okay, personal preference, personal choice. So let's just do this, do simpler.py and open this file, save this. The reason for why I want this out of this box, over here it looks a bit confusing, right? It does not even look interesting. It looks very bland and all these things. I know these colors thing is a big bad habit to have, but it's obviously going to give you an option to look into it and be like, hey, you know what, I think I can read this better now. This path looks like, okay, it is a bit different. And like there are people that have asked me as well. So I'm using this mousepad editor, which comes default in Kali 2020.3. It is present in all 2020 versions, I guess. So you can check out this, and this is what I'm using. Nothing fancy. I'm not installing anything extra. But yeah, so this gives like a Python overview. We have this Python 3 file, and we have multiple commands over here. So first thing, whenever there's some custom script or some script like that, I just check for some system command, exec command, something like that, right? So if we look into it more, I don't think there's anything interesting on top. But if you look somewhere, in Python we have the system command, and we see that we have OS system command running. So let's just see any other place if it's running. It does not run any other place, sorry. It does not work, sorry. So in short, it's like, sorry, we run OS, we have ping, we have command over here. Now what we can do is, it's like, basic thing command, which is coming from enter an IP. So this is done, I guess, if you use the P switch over here. So there's a switch, I guess, P exec ping, I think it will be somewhere over here, exec, okay. So it says over in the main function, so if the switch is P, so you execute the ping command. That means it's going to call this function over here, this function, okay. And over here it's going to take input, that is enter an IP and the input, into the command, and then later on, if I in forbidden, if I in command, print this. So in short, if whatever value we enter, right, if any of these characters are present in that value, it's gonna be like got you, it's gonna print this. So in short, this is like a blacklisting tool which they are using. I'm like, oh, why? Because I'll just show you all how this ping command would work in the target machine. So what we'll try to do is, we'll just try to run the command, which we did again, and we can probably upgrade our shell now, I guess, because we'll have to keep reusing that entire ping command. So what we can do is, we can just do import, sorry, Python C, import pty dot spawn bin bash, and that's it. So we do that, and now we just press Ctrl Z and then do http raw echo, hit enter, press FG now. You won't be able to see it on the screen, but I'm pressing FG. So F and G, press enter. We get this, press reset, it will ask screen type, just enter screen, that's it. So now we can get the previous commands, whatever we had entered over here as well. But I think reset is the only command, so let's just do sudo L again. And we'll just do sudo u pepper and this particular admin utilities simpler.py. Copy that, obviously just because space container has gone behind, but the command would run, right? You'll see it in a bit. Okay, so it did run this file. Again, I want to run this command, simpler.py, and I have to give the p switch because I want to ping an IP address. I want the ping command to be executed. So if I do ping, it says enter an IP. Obviously, if I was, like I wanted to act really smart and I'm like, hey, you know what, I'm going to bypass this. It's so simple. Instead of giving the command, which is going to take the input over here after printing this, okay, it's going to take some input. So it will be like I can probably just enter something malicious in nature, that I'll enter a IP address first and then 1428, that is my IP address, then give the quotes like the semicolon, sorry, and probably mention something like who am I or some reverse shell command. So I can give this over here. Let's just cut this for now. I can give this over here in this file, but just because I have mentioned this colon over here, semicolon over here, which is this thing, it's gonna take me in this loop. Got you. So let's just do that. It says got you. So obviously if I do not enter any command over here, that is this, and I actually enter a valid IP address. So let's just see what happens. So let's just run this again, give 10, 10, 14, 28. If I do that, it does ping this thing. For how long it's going to ping, I'm not sure. I think it's just going to ping. Keep pinging it. Okay, so this is how it's going to work, and it actually entered the value and it did an OS command over here. So let's just close this for now, Control C. And what we'll try to do is some way we'll try to find out we can. So there are multiple things there. Obviously, first thing is if you do AND, so it will be like, do this and do that. But that's not going to work. This semicolon also, we saw it did not work. This thing also is not going to work. The dash and these quotes over here, the back quotes also is not working. Then we have this pipe input, that is not going to work. And we have this single pipe as well. So in short, we do not have multiple things over here. So what's missing is this particular thing. So if you see, let's just leave this. If you do this and if you do who am I with the $sign, it says bash www data and it says command not found. Obviously, because what's this is doing is, like, what is this command actually doing is that it's actually running something like, once you do this, it's gonna get the output of this and then it's gonna use it as a command. So basically like www data, that's what it's doing. So if you do, in short, if you just do something like echo who am I, so now it's going to echo this command's output would be who am I. So obviously we'll just get www data, we'll not get anything else. So that's it, we got over here. So obviously if you do something like cat, and if you do something like who am I'm not sure base64 is present in the box. I'm not sure. Okay, so if I don't think base64 is present, did freeze up. I think it is present, but I'm not sure why it is not showing. Cat data, no such. Okay, my bad. I should not be using cat. I should be using echo n, and I should be using this. My bad. I used cat 64. So we get a base 64 of this thing. Who am I? Obviously the value of this would be Kali, because first whenever you write this script, what it will do is it will actually execute this thing first. Like you're calling like a variable thing over here from bash. So it will execute this thing first, then it will take this output which will be Kali, and it will then it will execute the second command, that is echo -n Kali and then base 64. So obviously if you take this entire thing over here and paste this thing, it's gonna give us Kali itself. Obviously we'll base 64D. So we get www data, obviously not Kali, but yeah, www data. So obviously we did an echo n and we did base 64 decode. Okay, so in short, we'll be using this thing over here, and if we use this thing, we can probably try and manipulate that ping command, right? So obviously we need something which would be really helpful. I think we can just immediately give something like bash or some command like that. So let's just see if that works. So what we'll try to do is we'll just try to have a shell over here, that is nc nvlp on port 555. Before you execute something for privilege escalation, any shell or anything, see if it works manually on your box first. So we'll use this bash version, and what we can do is remove this and add 5555. Okay, and change the ports over here, that is 28, 14 and 10. So let's just try doing this and see if we get a shell over here. Okay, so we do get a shell over here. Obviously this shell is going to be from www data as well, so we are not interested in that. So in short, it looked like this command actually worked. So if we add this command inside this, we are going to get a shell. Okay, so that's how it's going to work. It's going to execute this command, then it's going to ping this particular command over here. So that's how the magic is going to happen. So let's just try that py file again. Okay, and we can just enter this $sign between. Okay, my bad, that's not going to work. It's going to give us an error. Okay, so we'll just have this $sign, copy this command, paste it, close it. Now why this thing is getting whitelisted is because, okay, my bad, I think we cannot have this bash file. Another thing is because the dash is present obviously and the quotes are present. So in the bash and the and is present. So obviously if you run it, it's not going to let us, it says got you. So in short, what we'll try to do is we can write a normal simple PHP file, okay, sorry, SH file, and we can try to run that. So we'll just go to cd tmp and you can create a file, that is, so we'll just do echo o printf, and we'll just do bin bash. You can do this with new line, give the n for new line. If you do not give that, everything will come in one row itself. So just create a file that is reverse, you can just mention reverse, I guess, OSH. Okay, so then later on after that we can probably do append this file, and we can give another value that is this thing over here. Yeah, copy it, paste it. Yeah, so this is what we want, and press enter. And now, okay, now if we cat it, cat reverse.sh, so we do get the bin bash and this particular file over here. This is the file. Obviously this is just because I did not add new line, so that's why it's showing this thing. That's why I added new line first, otherwise it's going to show bash in the same output. So what I'll try to do is, now we have this bash file present, right, reverse sh. So let's just give execute permissions. So you can just do chmod 777, target machine, does not matter for permissions. So let's just do that, reverse. So 777 is all permissions for all users. Okay, so we do that, and what we'll do is we'll just do bash, and we'll do reverse sh and see if we get a shell. Obviously before you test something, try to figure it out over here. So let's just hit enter, and it does work. So in short, we just have to give bash and reverse sh. Okay, so we'll go back and run that py file. Okay, where is it? Okay, let's run this file, and probably we have to enter this thing. Okay, that thing is not going to work. So I'll just try to write this thing on the cherry tree itself, because I don't want to enter that command again. So we'll just do bash, and we can do tmp because that file is present in the tmp location. So let's just do bash and tmp reverse sh. So this is what we need to enter. So let's just copy this, enter, start on it cat listener, paste it. Obviously it's going to execute this thing first, and then it's going to execute. So if we see over here, we have a shell as pepper. So if we go back to the home directory, lsla, let's just put this thing over here, and we can do cd pepper lsla. We get our user flag over here. Obviously we belong to groups pepper, I guess. So let's just do groups over here, we belong to pepper group. We can very well read this user txt file. Okay, so second, obviously now when we come to another user, we'll just do sudo l, and I think it went over there. I'm not sure why. So let's just execute that. So obviously it's going to ask for password for sudo l. So obviously you can upgrade the shell over here, I guess. But yeah, so in short, we have pepper access, but I don't think for sudo l we require pepper's password. So what we'll try to do is we'll just try and run linenum and see if we get something. So go to exploit, locate. So linenum is present on GitHub, I guess. So you can check it out on Google and get this file. This is good for enumeration, so you can get this file. And as you all can see, I've used it for multiple boxes as well. So we can get it, copy it over here in our current working directory. And later on just start our Python HTTP server. So that's why I'll be doing Python mswitch for module HTTP server, and we can give 8000 over here. I want to run it on port 8000. So over here what we'll do is we'll just go to cd, and we can go and work in this users directory, or we can go to dev shm directory. So we'll just see in a bit why dev shm only. We can use dev shm, or we can use the tmp directory. We can make a directory over here which says mutated nuts. So we'll just copy whatever it is over here itself. We do not want to make a directory. Okay, so what we'll do is wget 10 10 14 28, and that is my attack machine's IP address, port number, and the file name, that is sh. So we get that. So we'll do chmod because we have to run the file. Let's just give 777 sh, and let's just run this. You can give the t thorough mode, but I don't think we require it in this box. But yeah, you can give the t switch as well. You get a more detailed enumeration done, like multiple readable files, I guess, or something is done, and you get some extra information. But this will almost give you, things present over here. So if you check over here, it says SUID files, like up front. Obviously, when I first do the box, I check everything from top. I'm like, hey, okay, this thing is present, that thing is present. So let's just check those things out. And also, when we enter this web application, right, the first thing is, obviously, since we saw sudo l, we stuck with it. Go to that web application, check its configuration file if you get any password or no. Okay, that's one important thing, because the web application was speaking to a MySQL server. So obviously that would have a credential present. So you can do multiple things. You can take that password. If you have a plain text password, you can take that password, use it for other users using SU, use it using SSH, use it in the database to check out for more other users or password or hashes. Okay, so there are possibilities are endless. So please don't forget doing that as well. But over here in this box, that was not required. So we have dev shm, and we have a linenum scan result, and we see over here the SUID files. Okay, obviously there's something like possibly interesting SUID files which says systemctl. Obviously this is interesting is because over here, if you see, the thing is, obviously I do not have tunnel vision that, hey, you know what, this is interesting. Firstly, this thing is latest over here, which is installed systemctl. Other thing is, if we would run it as user www data itself instead of going to pepper, so this thing would not appear over here, because the others users, which is like probably www data category, the category which www data user is in, we do not have any permissions over here. So we need to escalate to pepper. Like you need to escalate to this guy pepper in order to get a root. So if we see over here, we have executable permission. But if I hope you guys know what SUID files are, since the S is present over here. So in short, even though this file, is we belong to pepper, we have execute permissions, we need to have this X over here, right? Otherwise we cannot execute it. So when we execute this file, since this S is present over here in this first category, that is the root, that means whenever we execute this file as pepper, it's not going to execute as pepper, it's going to execute as root because of this S over here, set UID file. Okay, set user ID file. So that's how it is going to work over here, and same thing with SGID. So in the groups over here, which is the second one, that's S. So obviously that is going to work that way. So obviously we belong to the pepper group we had seen earlier. We had the system being CTL, obviously, and this thing date is latest as well. Obviously it hints out over here as well that Another thing what we can do is we have the binaries over here, right? And what we can check out is this GTFO bins, and we can try entering one binary over here. Like just keep this side by side over here probably, and my bad, keep it side by side over here and try checking out for one binaries over here. And hey, do you have F user mount? You can do this manual work. Obviously, in some time, whenever you do multiple boxes, you'll know what privilege escalations can take place and what cannot. But obviously, you get to see new things at times. And we have systemctl over here, so let's just do that and see if we have something like systemctl. We do have. Check this out. We have the SUID thing present because we are in the SUID category. We can do the sudo as well, but we cannot run sudo command on the system. In short, it somewhat means the same, but yeah, it's a bit different. So we have SUID present over here, so let's just see by doing this thing. We can do it over here itself. Same thing over here, what it's doing with sudo, it's doing over here itself. So let's just try this thing real quick. I don't think it works, but let's just try and see if it works. I don't have a shell upgrade, so let's just try though. So let's just do user bin ctl, bin ctl itself, not user bin. Okay, let's just save it on our cherry tree. Priv esc systemctl, sorry, systemctl, yeah. My bad. So we have systemctl. Let's just run this. Okay, it's like it did give us a lot of information and it did not run quite well if we just give this. So what we'll try to do is we'll just try to run this particular thing. Over here, first line itself, it is like you have to ignore this. It says like, it's just showing you an example how to create a SUID file. Second line over here, it says it's creating a variable TF. It's creating some random value over, make temporary value, and it's dot service. So it's creating some random file with dot service. So in short, it's trying to create some file with some random name and dot service in the end. So that file name is going to go over here. That means this entire script is going to be saved in this TF file. Okay. So now what we'll try to do is, instead of this TF file and saving all these things, we'll do these things manually. Systemctl link enable. Now we'll do these things manually. Okay, so step by step we'll do it. First we have dev.shm. We need to create this particular file. Okay, so one by one we can probably try to create it over here using, we have to create it one by one over this entire file over here. So instead of doing it one by one, I'll prefer to do it in this mouse pad over here. So let's just create a file, and probably I'll name the service as mutated nut service, and name the service, my bad, I added server, show service. Okay, so we have mutated nut service. Open this thing, paste it over here, and also this thing. So over here, that's what the temp part I was saying. If you enter something in the temp file, don't enter this temp tmp file. I don't know, for some reason it's acting weird, the tmp part, but you have to do it in dev.shm or do it in your home directory, that is pepper. So we copy this entire command, which is interesting, that is this echo service. Okay, you do not need the echo part because it is doing an echo. These things, it's going to do an echo and it's going to output it to this particular file. So we do not require the echo part, we require this. Copy it, paste it. Now we'll modify and do a few things. It says type one shot. I don't know what one shot means. I can try to Google and see if you get some additional information if it is required to change. But let's just do it as basic as that. We'll just leave everything as simple as this particular script, and let's just change the XX start. So it's like probably starting a service over here. So what I want to do is I don't want these things to be there. I'm not sure why it says ID. Okay, this is the command. Okay, so what we'll try to do is we'll just do bin bash. Since we created the bash file earlier, right, we'll do bin bash over here, and we can just create or run that particular dev.shm. We can do a root sh. that's what we can do. Bin bash dev shm root sh. So in short, we are just calling bash, as simple as how we do bash, but I think we have to enter the full path over here. So that's why let's just play it safe, have the full path mentioned. And what we can do is, once we have the full path over there, we can just check for which bash. I think it's bin bash, yeah, bin bash over here. In dev shm, another thing is we require this root sh file to be present. So what we'll try to do is, we'll just do the same thing what we did earlier, printf and bin bash. So we'll do that, and we'll do new line as well. Do not forget that important thing. And we'll output it to root.sh. Now we did that, and we actually go and do printf, and we have to enter the command which was present over there in the reverse shell. So let's just copy this thing, and probably we have to make few changes over there. So 10, 14, 28 and 444. No, not 444, my bad. 4444 and 5555 is in use, so let's just do 6666. We'll just copy this thing over here and paste it, and later on output and append it to root.sh. So now we are not creating a fresh new file, we are just appending this line to the first line over here. So now if you do cat root.sh, that means we have this bin bash and we have this root sh file. Now what we'll do is, quickly we'll just try to create a netcat list over here. As I mentioned earlier, obviously if you have all the commands and all right, everything, it does not matter. Just try and run and see if you can actually run this particular root sh, and we do get an output. So let's just do nc nvlp 6666, and just do, where am I? Output was a bit weird because, okay, so let's just do chmod 777 to root.sh file. We have that root.sh, and we'll do, let's just, since now we have root.sh, and over here we are starting a service that is bin bash dev shm root.sh. So let's just copy this and use this thing entirely, just to be 100% sure that if this service runs, it's gonna execute this thing. So let's just do that, and we do get a shell. Obviously we get a shell as pepper because we have not done the privilege escalation part. We are just checking away that the shell works. So that thing is very crucial. Do not forget this, because you may break your head sometime that, hey, you know what, unless you all obviously know what you all are doing. So yeah, so we'll have nc nvlp 6666 itself. We'll open it again, because why? We'll try to add that system, this particular file. So we have mutated nuts service present over here. We save this file, and we'll, since we are hosting that Python HTTP server, we'll call for that mutated nuts file as well. So we'll do wget. Wget command is to get a file from the attack machine to the target machine. You can get a HTTP file or something like that from here. So I'll give my attack machine's IP address, port number, that is 8000, which that HTTP server is running on, and we'll be giving mutated nuts service. You can give any name over here, I guess, but this thing should be service. So we do that. I think I'll just give chmod. I'm not sure what permissions I have to give. I think there's read permissions. I'll just give chmod 777 to mutated nuts service. Okay, we do that. Now what we'll try to do is, next thing in the command, so let's just follow that over here. Go to GTFO, we save this. So obviously this thing was just saving into a TF file. So this TF file is nothing but our mutated nuts service. So now it says systemctl link TF. So now we have to do systemctl link mutated nuts service. So let's just do that. Obviously we'll just use bin systemctl, because that was the path which we saw in Linenum, right? Systemctl, okay. Oh, okay. And then we'll probably do link, and we'll just link this service mutated nuts. We do that. It says fail to link unit invalid argument. Why? Because you have to add the entire path over here. So that's what we have to do. So let's just copy this thing again, link again, and the path dev shm, you have to add the entire path over here. So do that, and it says created symlink, this is this, so and so service. Now what you have to do is, now it says systemctl enable and now. So we have to have this thing present. So let's just copy this bin systemc. I know it may be a bit confusing, but I'm just trying to show you side by side. This is the command which we entered first, which is this. The tf replaces mutated nuts service, the entire path. The link is same, systemctl is the same. Obviously we give the entire path over here, but this is what it's doing. Now we have to give systemctl enable now. So let's just do that. So we'll just give bin systemctl. Okay. Now we have to give enable now, and then the file name. So probably just give the entire file name because it created this service over here, right? So let's just give this entire file name over here and see if it works. And if it does not work, then probably we'll just give muted and node service and see. So we have this Lency listener listening and this muted and service file. As seen earlier, we have this thing present. Let's see if our service file actually works. So let's just hit enter. We do get our shell over here as root. So who are we? We are root. Let's just go back to the root directory and we get our root.txt over here. Okay. So this is something like SQLi defender. I think so, because okay. So what we'll just not look into this. Probably can go and check this out again. We have root access. We get everything. So that was how the box was done. But as I mentioned earlier, this box can be done in two ways, like the initial part at least. So let's just look into that. We got root already. We are happy, but we want to learn more. At least for me, it's like for me, it's always like I need to learn more. Sorry, so I just try to find out things how to do, like how you do it differently. But yeah, close. This thing is gonna act weird. I'll just close this thing. Okay, so now we'll come back to our Burp Suite and we'll come back to our SQL injection over here. We had confirmed that we had like 4 null values, right? What we can do is we can just close this again, null, and we'll just remove this out file as well. I think we'll leave the plus over there. So it's a cool feature. There's if you just hover over this command, it will actually display the command without that what do you say, the URL encoding. Okay, so we have this null, whatever it is. What we can do is we can try to extract database information. Since we have SQL injection, we are not always lucky to have the right access or something like that, right? So we can extract database information. So what we'll try to do is we can just check out for list databases over here. Sorry, so over here it says something like schema name from information schemata for MySQL version greater than 5, otherwise you'll have to use this. So let's just try to use this thing over here. Okay, and before that we'll obviously have to sacrifice one null over here, like hey, sorry man, you got to go. And we'll just try to add this in, what do you see, in this, inside this thing over here, and probably just try and remove and enter 100, I guess, over here to just see if it works. Let's just try with 100 first. If it does not work, let's just try enter 1 or something. Or you can enter any greater value like 8, because 8 does not exist over here. So 8 or 10 probably. Okay, so we have select. So I'll just paste this entire thing over here. Okay, my bad. Before doing any of these things, URL decode it and then URL encode it. Control Shift U, URL decode, because it may act funny at times. So we have this select null. So we'll sacrifice this null over here. I will paste that schema name from information schemata. Let's just remove this. I guess I don't think you require the semicolon. So over here we'll be using the group concat function. Sorry, not contact, concat. So in short, it's going to list down all the databases and it's going to output it to us if we use the select group concat. So we'll be using select and group concat and the schema name inside it. That's it. And from information schemata. I think we require the codes or no. Let's just see if this works. Does not work. Probably we can just add Control U, send it. We get some different output, right? 283 because that was not our standard output. It was 26232 and we get 283 over here. Let's just look into this. So not sure where it went. Okay, another thing is if you want to be like you want to know where that particular thing is present, it is present over here, right? So COD is the command where we are getting these databases name. Earlier also we saw we got it in the COD command. So what we can do is we can just take this entire thing and paste it over here. So always whenever we check for things, it's gonna mention details over here. So in short, we have like hotel, information schema, MySQL performance, and all these kind of databases present over here. So we can just do another node over here, add subnode, MySQL, just add this, and we can check out these things over here. So in short, we can have hotel, MySQL, and performance schema. So we can just probably, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 databases name over here, hotel. So we can check out for things in hotel, in information schema, in MySQL, performance schema. Well, let's just go with MySQL. Again, no tunnel vision. I'm just trying to save time. We can probably just enumerate other things as well. The same way we enumerated MySQL. Okay, because I do not find anything over here, and so let's just try over here, MySQL. Okay, so now we have listed the databases. We need to list the tables over there. Because if you all don't know, the structure of the tables, first it will be probably be like databases over here. Inside that there will be like tables over here, multiple tables. So this is like one database over here, okay, database 1, something like that. Ignore this script, whatever I have written, but yeah. Then there's like table 1, then there's table 2, table 3, because there would be multiple tables, right? Okay, like table 1 would be like user table, table 2 will be like something like privileges, table 3 would be like something like session ID or something like that, okay, I'm not sure, but whatever. So in this table, obviously there will be like multiple columns. So just ignore this thing, just consider this table would have like multiple columns, like 1, then 2, 3, and so on. So it would have multiple columns over here and it will have multiple users over here, that is name. I know it's a bit confusing to look, but okay, let's just look it over here. So in short, first there would be like databases. So database name, just consider it as mutated nuts databases present. Okay, then it would be like inside this databases there are like multiple tables, that is mutated nuts videos, then there is not playlist probably, but walkthroughs, then commands, I'm just giving an example, okay, just consider it this way. Then it is like, if I have a web application or something, I have some site like Facebook, so it will probably have like users over here, then it will be like images, something like that, so multiple things over here. So each of these tables would have like columns present inside. So let's just consider this users for example, because it would be easier to explain. So we have users tables over here, right? So in short, there would be like multiple columns. So I think we can enter insert table, yeah, just enter. Okay, so this is what the column would look like for users. Ignore the format, but yeah, first obviously would be like, why can I not enter anything? Okay, rename column. So it says like first would be like username, and then it would be like, see, if you hope you guys are aware of this. If you all are aware, you all can skip forward in the video and check out. But I'm just trying to be beginner friendly and just try to explain things out. So we have passwords over here, and then probably we have something like session ID. Just consider it simple, session ID. So we have multiple things over here, and something like height. Just consider height, just as it is. I'm not sure why I added that, but just consider that. Just consider height over there. But yeah, we have username, password, session ID, and height. So obviously there's muted and nuts database. That is a database name. Obviously there'll be some other databases name, like probably some other YouTube user. Just consider that way. There'll be multiple databases, but muted and nuts database has like multiple tables over here, that is videos, walkthroughs, commands, users. Obviously videos will have multiple columns and all these things, but the users table, which is over here, has like multiple columns over here, and these columns would have multiple rows which are like having username, that is me itself, muted and nuts, and my password is like very simple, that is kindly subscribe, that way. So then we have another user over here, that is probably like HackTheBox, and then we have that password as well, good service, something like that. Okay, just simple, I'm not sure what I'm entering, but yeah. So just consider something like there are two users over here, ignore the session ID and hide for now, but this is what it would look like, multiple rows. Okay, so in short, if we are querying for rows, it would be like select all from users where username is equals to muted and nuts and password is equal to kindly subscribe. Okay, so something like that. So now what if you want to if you want to output each and every detail over here? So that's why we'll be using group concat, sorry, not contact. What that would do is, if there are multiple databases, right, so it will be like if you do group concat, it's going to list down all the databases for you, not only one, because we do not know what database is, right? Database can be any random or custom name, right? Once you get the database name, then we'll check out for other things. First, we'll just try to find out how many databases are there. That we just did, right? So we did find that we have all these databases. Now we got MySQL. Now I want to try out and find out tables like these. So now I'll be using group concat for this database to find out table name. Okay, for MySQL. So let's just check that. Okay, let's just add MySQL over here so that we get that formatting. Okay, so now we'll try to find out table names as well for MySQL. So let's just do that over here. Ignore that drawing, I know it's a bit messy, we're just trying to explain. Okay, so we have this thing over here. What we can do is from table name, go back to this cheat sheet over here, and we can just check out list tables. Actually list tables should be before columns, but yeah. Select table schema, table name. So here it's selecting two two values, that is table schema and the table name. We do not know the table name, so let's just consider table schema itself. From information schema dot tables, where table schema is not equal to MySQL. Table schema is not equal to information schema. So in short, I think this command would work, but it requires modifications over there. So what we'll try to do is just try to URL decode it again. Just trying to be safe over here. URL decoded, and we need to change this entire command over here, what's present in the bracket. So let's just paste this for now from this list tables, and we need to remove this. We can leave the select. We can add group concat over here. I'm not sure why I'm saying contact since so long, but yeah, concat, just bear me. And we have the group concat done over here for table schema. So earlier we had done information schema, right? I think information schema was, yeah. So now we'll do table schema. From information schema tables, this is the values to find tables, where table schema is not equal to MySQL, but actually table schema which we had used earlier, that is equal to MySQL. So we require that. We do not require the not MySQL command. So we require that. Obviously we have to enter this code because this is a value, this is not a command. So we need to enter this thing in codes. Just make sure you all do that. So let's see if this thing actually works. I hope it does. Control U, send it. We do get a different output, 641. So let's just go back, hit this match button over here, and we see that we have MySQL, 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 MySQL. That means it did not work, because where table schema is equal to we have given something like this. So obviously we have to see that table schema not equal to this, and probably we need to change our command over here. So let's just quickly do that, and let's just see what we are missing. So in short, over here, instead of table schema, since we tried table schema first, right? We already have this table schema thing over here. where this thing is MySQL. So that is like the database name probably. So we have to enter something like the table name itself. I removed table schema, but we need to enter the table name. So let's just do that, table name over here and send it. So we do get a different match, and we do now, and we see, because obviously the table schema, like it was like that table name which was coming, and it was actually outputting it instead of the table name itself. So that's how it was happening. But yeah, you can try to figure it out, like do one, do it things slowly and try to figure it out. Okay, so we have multiple table names which we get over here. We get multiple table names. That's like a huge list of table name, but we have something which says user over here. So obviously user, very interesting. So we can just try to copy this entire thing inside Charity, but I'll just take user for now. You can check out other things as well. Now once we get the table name, we need to do similar thing for the column. My bad, over here table schema was there, right? So we just took table name. I'm not sure why I went over there, but yeah. So now what we can do is we can just try this thing, table schema, table name from, okay, where, okay. So what we can do is we can try to find out the columns over here as well, information schema column. So let's just try to take that and see how it works. So let's just take this, copy it, go back to Burp Suite and try to do URL code. Okay, we have select group concat table name. So obviously we'll just remove this for now, the entire thing. Okay, from information schema columns, we just require the column names, we do not require the table names. So let's just do that, select group concat column name over here from information schema dot columns, and we require this other thing as well, where table schema is equal to this and table name is equal to this. So table schema is probably nothing but the schema name over here. So MySQL and the table name, whatever we got, right, that is the user. So let's just try and see that if it works, where table schema is equal to MySQL, because that's the database name, MySQL, and table name is equal to user. So we have selecting something from, in short, getting, so now we got the the database using the first command earlier which we had seen. Then we got all the tables. Obviously I did not mention other tables. Now we are trying to get columns like these from user, table name user, and the database name, that is table schema, that is MySQL, because these are named as schematas, so schemas over here, table schema. Okay, these things. Okay, so let's just try to do that. Try to run this and see if it works. Like group concat column name from information schema columns, where there's this. Okay, let's just see if it works. I hope it does. Control U, send. We do get something over here. We see that we get multiple things. We get like host, user, password, and multiple privileges thing. You can check out for those things, but I don't think we require that. We can check out for these things over here, host, user, and password. So let's just try to add that into this particular file. But first again, we'll try to URL decode it. And now we have to just select something like host, user, password, and probably we have to select something like from database name and the table name itself. So we'll just do that. Remove this entire thing over here. I think it's as simple as that. Let's just see if it works. From MySQL, that is the database name, and then the table over here, that is SQL user. So I hope this works. So let's just see if it works. Control U, send it. So we got a match over here, but obviously we did not get any output over here. So probably we have to just see how do we go about with it, because the select host, user, and password should be present in group concat itself. So let's just try to do that. Or we can, I think, do, Okay, I'll show you another thing. Yeah, instead of group concat, we can probably just do host. I think this would work. Let's just try host user. I think it was user password. I think it was this. What we got? Yeah, from MySQL database and user table. So let's just see if this thing works. Control U. Send it. We do get something over here, and we do get our, in the first output, we do get the name of the host, then we get the name of the user. Sorry, this is the name of the user over here itself, and we get localhost over here. So that means that was the first entry, then we got user, and then we got these things over here. So obviously we can try to make it better. We'll add a null over here, null, and we'll remove a null from behind. So it will look much better, I guess. So if you do that, we do have localhost over here. That's the host name. That is the first parameter. Then it's user. That is dbadmin, and then it's this thing over here. Okay, so if you all wanted a much better thing, I think we can do that group concat thing to see if it works. So let's just do that instead of removing all these null values. So let's just add null again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we do that. Take this union select group concat. From database. So in short, I'm selecting, it's as simple as select host user password from MySQL and the database, sorry, MySQL database, and the table name is user. Okay, so I know it may be a bit confusing, but if you all have any queries, you all can ask in the comments below. But yeah, this is how I did it. My bad, should have not. That's why I don't like this icon. URL encoded from here. Let's just do Control U. Okay, hopefully it works. We do get some output. If we see over here, we do get everything in one line itself. So obviously this would be a bit tricky. So next thing what you can do is you can just add a new line over here. So we can just give new line, and we can try to copy this thing over here for user and password as well. So just copying this thing over here, I'll just send it, get the same output over here, but much better now, localhost, dbadmin, and the password. So in short, this hash is important for us. So let's just take that, copy the hash, and we get some hash over here. So MySQL users, we get a password over here, that is this, and the username as well. So the username is dbadmin. So let's just take that, dbadmin over here, we have the username. Obviously this is like some trial and error. I had to check out things, use multiple commands and get something. Okay, so it's not that I know all these commands. You can try to use this sheet over here, that the Pentest monkey one, and try to figure it out how to get things. So obviously in short what it's doing is, obviously there's a MySQL database name over here, then user. Inside this user table there is like host present, then there is like user present, so username, not user, and there is password present as well. So I think it was like user password, okay, user itself. So in short, this was the database. This was, first we did find out the database name, so we got multiple databases like these over here. Then we did get the table name, that were many, but obviously the user was interesting. Then we got the column names from this particular table, that is this. Then what we did was we got the entries present in user, host, and password inside this table, inside this database. So this is how it did work over here, and that's what we got our credentials. So let's just copy this thing over here, and we can use it, create a document, that is hash, open it, paste it. So if you do cat hash and check out the word count. WCC for word count, that is 41 characters. Okay, I hope it is. So let's just do echo n. I think that's a new line which is giving. So we'll use this over here as well, cat hash. And then we'll do WCWN because dash n would not give us new lines. So yes, that is 40 characters. So we'll just go and check out for the hash type over there in hashcat. So we can do this hashcat examples. I have this bookmarked. I recommend to have it bookmarked as well. Very important. Multiple times you'll require it. So if you see over here, obviously this was like that. You get that MySQL database credentials and DB admin is present. This thing is present over here with a hash. So probably it looks like we can just check out for the word count 40 because obviously let's just close this. Do not require these things over here. So if you open this, obviously we do not get anything like a $sign or something over here, like to something, right? So it's just as simple as that. What we can do is we can quickly go and check out for other things over here, or we can check out for the MySQL hash format which is present, which is this. So if you check out for this as well, the word count of this would be 40 itself. So let's just try this and see if the word count is same. Yeah, so it is 40 and it is most likely this particular hash which MySQL has created. So what we'll try to do is we'll use hashcat, and important thing to note over here is the mode is 300 for this thing over here. So we'll require the rock.txt because we'll be cracking this hash. So we'll require a word list. So let's just get the rock.txt. Hope you guys have it. I think it is present by default. You just have to unzip it. It is present in this format. Take this file, use it with hashcat, give the mode, that is M, that is 300, because we did find it over here, right? So we give 300 and then we'll give the, this is the method which is going to use the hash type, then the mode, that is A, that is like a dictionary attack, so that is 0 for dictionary. You can check out the help page, but yeah, that 0 is for dictionary, and give the file name, that is the hash, the file name which we have saved that particular hash in, and then give the word list, that is the rock.txt. So let's just run it. Obviously it's going to be like, okay, let's just do force. Okay, so it's already cracked over here because I did already crack it earlier. So I think I just need to do show. So we do show, and this particular hash which we did get earlier, the password is I miss you. So now the password was, username is dbadmin, this is I miss you. So we had a login page earlier, right? If you guys remember this thing over here, we can just enter dbadmin. I hope I have entered that right. dbadmin, yes, and the password I miss you. Fail to set session cookie. Maybe you're using HTTP instead of HTTPS to access my admin. Is that correct? I don't think I require that. HTTPS. I don't think that's going to work. Does it? Yeah, because 443 is not present itself. Interesting. dbadmin. Try entering localhost. And the password, that is I miss you. Go. It does not let us log in for some reason. I'm not sure why. Okay, it's already doing localhost. Okay, so let's just do I miss you. I hope I got the password right. I miss you. I miss you. Copy it. Paste it over here. db admin. Go. Okay, so we do get access over here. I'm not sure what that was. I think I had to reload the page for some reason, but yeah. So in short, figured it out, right, that this thing worked, and we see that multiple things we see over here. We get the web server, that is Apache. We get some extension, PHP extension. We get the PHP version and PHP myadmin version over here, that is this. So if we go over here, back to our page, so let's just start fresh, probably just go back below, try to add PHP version. So we have 480, okay. So what we can do is quickly we can just go and check out for PHP myadmin 48 exploit. So we'll just try and look at this exploit over here and see if we get something. This particularly POC, it actually explains us that there's an exploit present, LFI exploit present, and we can convert LFI to RCE over here. That is 480 and 481 version. So we have 480. It explains the vulnerability over here on index.php page. So we can probably check out for other things over here. The attack vector, that is SQL PHP is the attack vector, I guess. But we'll have to probably find for SQL PHP over here and over here. So the whole exploit goes like this over here. So what we'll try to do is we'll just take this index.php page, and after SQL we'll obviously put a question mark and see if this particular thing works, and the etc password part. Okay, so let's just use this, paste. Okay, we already had index.php, so we do not require that. SQL PHP we have, so we'll just enter that and we'll enter the path, that is etc password. Let's just start with this one probably and see if it works. Okay. So let's see if this works. So it does not work. It says something like this. So let's just try and add more paths over here, probably because it says fail to open stream, no such file or directory. So probably I think LFI works fine, but obviously it's not getting the right path over here. So let's just do that, go behind over here, like path reversal and LFI combined, I think. That way, okay. So path traversal and like directory traversal and LFI is not the same thing, because LFI actually includes the file and runs it as PHP or something, but path traversal does not do that, if just FYI. So we have to go back 4 directories in order to get the etc password file. So in short, we do get our etc password file. Obviously we had seen it in that SQL thing earlier as well. So this thing is confirmed. So obviously we have to go back 4 times. So let's just copy this thing over here. Just mention LFI 4 times. Go back, and this thing over here, this part, just mentioning over there, probably it will be useful later. And then it says that once you do that, you have to probably have some query which is running, that is select php info in SQL PHP and include your own session file. So that's how we have to include this. In short, we have to run this query, select PHP over here. So let's just copy this thing, and we have to, only thing I can see the query is this SQL. So let's just click that, enter this, but we do not require PHP info. Any which is giving some error or something like that. We do not require that PHP info. What we'll try to do is simple thing what we do always. So that is PHP echo system, and we request. Or before that, we can just do system, and we can do who am I, just to confirm that it does work, this entire thing does work. So I'm not sure why there are errors thrown over here. Do I have to enter it inside the quotes? I did enter it inside the quotes. Okay, PHP, not sure, let's just try it this way. Probably does not like those errors over there. Okay, so it does work that way, and I don't think we have any errors now. So select this. So in short, if LFI would work, if we do, what this particular POC is saying is, if we run a query like this, so this query is going to be logged into the access log and into the PHP session file, like the PHP logs is going to be present over there. So in short, since we have LFI present and we have this particular access log thing would go in, this particular string would go in the access log that is present in that PHP session file. This page, we'll look into this later. So in short, we will be having RC done because of this thing. So let's just confirm that first and see if that www data thing works. Okay, because obviously we should be getting www data over here, because we saw it earlier, right? But obviously we should be getting some of the other user, and this should be executed as PHP script. So let's just run this query. We do go, it says it's done, that's it. So now let's just go back to that particular session file over here, that is var lib PHP and the session plus the PHP session ID. So we require the PHP session ID first. So let's just go to inspect element. Over here, go to storage and go to the PHP session ID, that is this. Just open it. This is the session ID which you're looking for, not this one, not this one. So this is the one which you're looking for. Let's just copy this for now, and we have to probably go this path, and we have to enter something like session and the ID. I think it was SESS itself, not session. Yeah, SESS. So let's just remove this, and we require the var library php5. So let's just add that as well. Remove this thing. I know it's a bit messy over here for some reason, but let's just copy this thing so that we get a plain text output and paste it over here. As earlier we had confirmed that we have what do you say, LFI, right? So probably we wrote this query, right? So this log, like how we do something in a web Apache logs. So if there's a user mutated nuts which requested for a web page, it's going to show over that this particular Mozilla Firefox and all these things, there's a request coming. So this is what it's exactly doing. Like what did the user run? What command did the user run? So this is what it's doing. So let's just do that and load this page and see if it works. So in short, okay, my bad. We are over here in SQL PHP. We should be in index. That okay, we did not write that part. So let's just try to do that. Let's just copy this thing again over here. My bad for this. Go back, index PHP. Then I think it was target and SQL PHP. Nice. And we have this thing over here. So let's just run this. Please check network connectivity at your end. I'm not sure what it's saying, but let's reload this. This page does work, but okay, I'm not sure. Probably it did not, this thing is not incorrect, this whatever path we are adding for LFI. That's why it's giving us an error or something like that, okay? So this path is actually incorrect over here. What we can try to do is we can just get this var PHP session file location. So let's just do that, and we see over here there's a path mentioned, right? So let's just go over here and check out the PHP session path. Okay, it's getting us to this SQL page. I'm not sure. I don't want to go to this SQL page. I want this index PHP, then target SQL PHP, and the path over here. So it says obviously some error over here, but for some reason that page is incorrect. So if you see that Debian machines, the Linux over here has var lib php5, whereas the RHEL and CentOS systems, RHEL and CentOS, they probably have this path over here. So let's just try this, because probably this is like a server. So we tried this, it did not work. So let's just try this thing over here and see if it does work. So var session, let's just hit enter. So we do that and it says fail to open stream, no such file or directory. For some reason, did our session file name change? I'm not sure. So what we'll try to do is we'll do inspect element, go to storage. We have this is what we enter, right? I don't think we entered anything else. Okay, session, PHP over here. Load this thing, ignore. So we do that, we get a blank page over here. What we'll try to do is we'll just add and for that particular query which we had written, right? I think we should have just got mutated nuts over here itself. I'm not sure why it did not work, but we do have this var lib php session. Let's just try to run it. It says some error or something, failed to open stream, no such file or directory. For some reason does not have such file or directory. The exploit says Okay, so it looks like probably there's session and there would be sessions as well. I guess for this box, I know it's a bit tricky, and anyway, this was not the intended path, I guess. So I think we'll probably use sessions and check if that is the path and that is the file which we get. If we do sessions, we do get this particular path over here. Obviously, this was PHP 5, but this is PHP, but sessions is the path over here. So you have to enter that S over here. I think it's mentioned over here as well. Yeah, it does mention over here PHP sessions over here. So yeah, so this was the path, and we do get the logs over here. And let's just quickly check for www data if we get something. If we see over here, we do get www data. Over here, we do get this particular thing done. So RCC is successful. Obviously, next thing is we can just go back to our SQL command injection. My bad. Reload this. I don't know, this page is a bit messy, probably does not like me. Let's just run that select command again, right, which we did find over here. And over here now we'll probably just enter something like, keep it simple, add that request parameter. So let's just do that. Okay, I think we can write it on us by ourselves. So SQL, okay, select and PHP echo system. Can have a request method over here. Request will have something like mutated nuts, or we can have CMD itself. I know it's a bit tiny, I guess, so I'll just zoom this. Okay, so this is what we are going to enter. I'm not sure why I added a quote over there, but yeah, so this is the command what we entered over here, and let's just do go. So we do go over here and reload this LFI page, and it's, you know, it will give us some warning. Let's just say ignore. And what we'll try to do is, now since we already have this question mark parameter over here, we add it over here as well, but this is that page which is calling for that LFI and giving that parameter. So let's just try to do this. Obviously we are calling another session page over here, but yeah, so let's just add another parameter, that is and probably we can enter mutated nuts, and we can enter who am I. So obviously we'll get some output as www data. Hopefully we should. Another thing is just enter the host name. So that would be better because we already have few www data over here. So let's just enter host name, and let's just see if we get something. I know it's a bit messy, a lot. Okay, we have Jarvis over here. So in short, we do get Jarvis over here. And what we can do is we can take this entire request, which would be present in our burp repeater. You can take that request, the one which we, okay, this is the request which you are looking for, okay, not this one, but okay, so this is the one which you are looking for, who am I. So let's just take this request, and what we can do is we can just try to add the Python reverse shell and get a reverse shell. So that's what we can do. So nc nvlp 444, we can use 44 now because that's available. Let's just go to pentest monkey. Reverse shell. Get this thing over here. Obviously do not forget to change the IP address and port. You can leave bash or sh, either of these things. Take this thing, control U, URL encode, see that netcat listener is running, send the file. We do get our shell over here. So this is how it was done. I know it was a bit difficult and tricky, but yeah, this was a long boss, box, not boss, but yeah, I'm exhausted as well. But yeah, this is what the box was about. First part was interesting. Obviously, I did the box first thing. It was like the first way itself, like writing the file and then, you know, getting a shell and all these things. But yeah, this was the box. You try to modify that using the dollar sign as well for pepper, and then we use systemctl for root. And just wanted to show you all the MySQL injection way that we can get extract user information, then use this LFI for log. It's somewhat like log poisoning, how we do it in Apache log poisoning, but yeah. So if you guys like the video, do give a thumbs up and do subscribe for more upcoming videos. If you all have any queries, do ask in the comments below. I know this was a bit tricky and there were like a lot of things involved over here, but yeah. So thank you.